Hello.
Happy Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Happy, what day is it? Day
everybody.
16?
16.
Yeah.
Welcome to day 16 of quarantine. All right, and welcome back to Open and Honest. I'm Isa.
And I'm Renee, and this is episode 4. So if you've been watching and tuning into all the episodes, thank you. Let us know what you want us to talk about in the upcoming episodes, because we definitely need lots of ideas if we're going to be recording almost every day. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Today we are talking about love languages, something that for a while had like a lot of buzz around.
When like the book came out.
Yeah, like when it came out, everybody was talking about like, oh, I'm this love language, and you always see like random tweets about like, I need somebody to love me like this because of I'm this love language or whatever. This is my love language. So yeah, I just think it's super interesting. So I just kind of want to know, like, from the start, like, what are your thoughts on love languages? Do you think they're important? Do you think they're accurate?
Obviously everybody can, okay, let me rephrase that because that just came out like a whole lot of blah. I think everybody's love language, you can take like little pieces of all 5. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's hard to say I'm just one because we don't like to think of ourselves as materialistic or automatically categorize ourselves as that. But regardless, it's still, I think when you receive a gift from a loved one or something, you get excited, you like that, but unconsciously, it's not like we're sitting here like, oh my God, I need you to bring me gifts every single day because that's my love language. No, but when you get it, you get excited. Same with like words of affirmation. I think that's super important to always kind of be building somebody else up and vice versa. Quality time, of course. Physical touch. I think oddly enough, we'll go back to this, but oddly enough, that's the one that I got on the quiz, was that physical touch was like the main one, and I don't think that's true. And then acts of service, of course. So there's 5 different ones. So I think you can take little pieces from all of them. Do you have one specifically?
Well, so yeah, but like, what did you say your top 2 was? Your physical touch, and what was the other one?
Your scores, it was physical touch, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, acts of service, and quality time.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know, like me personally, I do like believe in them. And I think like, yeah, I definitely have like portions of each one. Like each one is important to me, but I definitely think like some are more important to me than others. So like I do like how it doesn't just give you like one, it tells you like what your score is within each one of the sections. So for me, it was words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, receiving gifts, and physical touch. And I think I completely agree with like that breakdown. For me, like I'm somebody who very much likes to be reassured. And I feel like, yeah, so that's super important to me. And I feel like when I'm not getting that, I like seek that, and I'm like, do I look cute? Like, do you love me? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm somebody who's super like needs that reassurance and like needs to know that like you're still in this, or you still feel the same way, or you're still like or whatever the case may be. So I 100% agree with like the way that my like rankings were.
I thought it was interesting just because I had this conversation yesterday, and I think mine would be acts of service, words of affirmation, just because the same, I like to be like reassured constantly, like, or not constantly, but I feed off of that. And then I guess would be physical touch, acts of service, quality time, and receiving gifts. Just because I've never been one to like, I need you to give me something. It's nice and like I appreciate it, but and then physical touch. I don't know. I just have a thing about touch. Like I think I like to be like hugging all up on you all the time. Like I like to be like that, but when like somebody does that to me constantly, I'm like,
yeah,
I like to do it. So I think that's where it kind of maybe got skewed, because I know that I love to just be like hugging on you like all day long, but like if somebody's clinging onto me like that, I'm like,
yeah, it makes me like just anxious. No, I 100% agree with that. I think like for that kind of thing, like I like to do it on my own terms. But like taking this test, it also made me realize like, so like this test I feel like is looking at things at like the positive side. Like, you know, like seeking words of affirmation is like a positive thing. Wanting to spend quality time is like a positive thing. But I also think like these things can be like detrimental to a relationship also. So like for example, like if you're somebody who's constantly seeking like words of affirmation from your partner, like you're constantly like, do I look good, do you love me, all the time, like constantly seeking like reassurance from your partner, like that's a lot of pressure from them as well. Like constantly wanting to spend quality time with your partner is a lot of pressure on them. Constantly wanting to receive gifts or wanting them to touch you or give you acts of service, like all of these can be like negatives too. So like although these are your love languages, like how
conscious of what theirs is.
Exactly. And exactly. So it has to be like, I think in order for love languages to work, you have to know each other's love language and be like constantly aware of them so that you are both feeding each other and it's like a mutual or like not just one-sided. Because I think like when you're not aware of the other person's like love languages, I think that that's maybe where like a lot of issues in relationships come into play. Because like for me, I'm aware that like my love language is like words of affirmation and that I need reassurance. But like if I don't communicate that to my partner, I feel like I'm just constantly looking for reassurance and they're like, okay, dude, like you've asked me this question for the last, you know, five minutes, like chill, you know?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where like a good spot is. No, I agree. And that's like one of the first conversations that I had with my boyfriend was like because I'm like big on it and I like to know how you react. And so I wanted to know like what is your love language? And sorry, we weren't talking about it yesterday. We were talking about it this morning. And I was like, yours is this and this and this. And he was like, yeah, like, he's like, wait a minute, how do you remember? And I was like, well, we had this conversation because I wanted to know because I needed to know. And it's true, like, I feel like it plays such an important role in relationships when you know each other's, because then you kind of know what to do, kind of how to keep your significant other happy, and feel like their needs, their wants and needs, and what's going to make them feel good at the end of the day. Because you can shower somebody with gifts, but if they don't like it at all, then you're just, I mean, it's nice to do, but you're just spending money when all they want is maybe for you to like cook with them. Like those things are important to me. It's like spending quality time and like cook with me, bake with me, like do things that I like with me.
Yeah. And I think like something else is like realizing that these can be like you can use these in like other relationships, not just romantic relationships as well.
Yeah, with family and your friends.
Yeah, with friendship and like with your family and things. I think it's important to realize like you can use these as well. I know like something like growing up, like my dad's thing was always like, oh, you know, you're given so much, we do so much for you, like you get this, you do this and all these things. And it's like for me, receiving gifts wasn't the way that like I interpreted love. Like, okay, yeah, you could have bought me everything under the sun, which I appreciate and I'm grateful for it, but like I would rather you spend time with me, or I would rather you tell me like, you know, that you're proud of me or that I'm doing a good job or that you love me or whatever the case may be. Like that wasn't the way that I saw or interpreted love. So like there was always this battle because I was like, oh, you could take that, like you can take this thing, I don't need that, like whatever, you know. Because I feel like also in a lot of ways, like I'm somebody who like wants to get the things that I want in my life like on my own. So like yeah, it's nice when they're like given to you, like, oh, you know, you got me this thing that I had been talking about, I love it, I'm happy, I'm great, but like it's not like fulfilling for me. Like it's more fulfilling for me to like get that thing on my own, or even like, or like it's not even fulfilling to like get things in general, you know what I mean?
But
so
if it was a level of fulfillment, it's because you got it, not because it was good.
Yeah, so it's just like I feel like over time like I've realized like what kind of love that I need from other people. And so definitely like taking like these type of quizzes like help you to better like identify what kind of love that you need.
Yeah. And like going off of what you just said, I think we both resonate with that, with not like needing gifts and stuff, because like for instance I started working at 15 because I didn't want to ask my parents for money. I wanted to be able to buy my own stuff, and same with you started working at 16 for the same reason. So we both always just kind of, if we wanted something, got it ourselves. And like, of course there's times where like we were gifted things or we would ask for things. Of course, I'm not saying there isn't, but at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's more fulfilling to like be able to get it on your own and achieve it. It's like an accomplishment. But words of affirmation, definitely. Acts of service, like I said, that's like my main thing. It's like spend that quality time and like do something with me, something that I enjoy and something that like we both enjoy doing together. I don't know, that's a big thing for me.
Absolutely. So I kind of like, while I was going through Twitter yesterday, one of the things that I saw on there was this girl tweeted this out, and it just made me so angry. She said, if your man doesn't pay all your bills and buy you gifts, he is just a friend, ladies. Don't ever play yourselves. And I got super mad about it, but then like I went back to like my love language, and like for some people, like they interpretate love based on receiving gifts. But then it's also like, to me, that's that negative side of like receiving gifts, because it's like the expectation of like, if your man isn't paying all of your bills, if he isn't constantly showering you in gifts, or, you know, your girlfriend or whoever, your partner, that means that they don't love you, or that means that they're not deserving of being called like your lover. They're just a friend.
Well, hand in hand, it goes right back to her. If she's not doing the same thing, what does it say about her? Like that she doesn't love him?
Yeah. So, and then my question is like, what are your expectations? Like, so he's paying all your bills and giving you gifts. Like, what are you expected to do as his partner then?
Yeah, that's return.
Yeah. So I replied to the tweet and I was like, I hate this mentality so much, because I'm always somebody who wants to get my own things. Like, I want my own things, period. Like,
have this conversation on Christmas.
Yeah. So it's hard for me, because I understand like a man's traditional role in a woman's life, and I understand a woman's traditional role in a house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. Like, that's not what I want. Some parts of it, yeah, I do want. I want like a man to be a provider, like I want him to be a protector, all those type of things. But I don't want there to be pressure like, oh, because you're a man, you need to pay for everything ever. Because I'm a woman, I have to clean everything, always. I have to cook everything, always. I have to, be this, and this, and that. Like, no, like, for me, it's like every relationship is different. Like, my man might be a bomb-ass cook, and so he might cook most of the nights. And I might, wash the dishes because he cooks. Or, he might fold and I wash, or whatever the thing may be. But, like, for me, like, I need some sort of equality, because at the end of the day, like, you as a woman can't say you're for women's equality, but then want a man to do everything for you.
That's just a very old school mentality. And like, I know a lot of people who are like that, and they still think that that's exactly their role in life, and that's the only thing. And it's just preference. Like, there's some people who are very content and happy living that way, but that's not us. And so like, that's kind of like our job, not our job, but just to find somebody who has that same mentality as us, because they're going to find somebody with that same mentality who's going to be, like the very machista, and she's going to be like the lady of the house, and that's it. But for us, like, having it be equal is the most important thing. So we just have to find somebody who thinks the same way, like there's somebody for everybody. So there's somebody for every mentality. And thankfully, like, exactly what you just said is like, I was like, I hate folding laundry, and he loves folding laundry. So like, I'll wash it and you can fold it, and then same, like, I'll cook, you clean the dishes, deal.
Yeah.
So like, it's even. It's not just one or the other. It's not just this is your role and this is my role and that's it. No, like, that's not fair.
But yeah, but also like, not to discredit people who like the traditional way of life, that works for some people. But I think to put like a blanket statement of like, oh, if your man isn't doing this, he somehow doesn't love you enough. Or if you're this type of woman, then you're never going to find a man. Or if you're this type of man, then you're never going to find a woman. Like, I think like you have to meet somebody who you vibe with, and based on who you two are as individuals, like that dictates how your relationship is going to be. I have never wanted anything like just regular. Like I've never been that type of person. So my relationship probably isn't going to look like most people's. And I'm 100% okay with that. Like I need to, in a lot of ways, like be a leader, like in my relationship. And that's not to say like I'm not going to let a man have like his, you know, role or place in the house, but like I also like there's certain things that I want to accomplish. Like, so if that means like I'm not going to cook every night because I'm, you know, going after my career or whatever the case may be, like that's just the way that it's going to have to be. Like some days you're going to be able to cook or I'm going to be able to cook. You know what I mean? But like just the pressure of like, I also think it's a lot of pressure to put on any one person. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
just to say, well, because that's like, if you think about it, like how men are supposed to be like the breadwinners of the family. If they're okay doing that and like you have other responsibilities to do, then so be it. Like you each have your own, but it is just to like off the bat, like right from the get-go. And I think that's like, it's a very bold for somebody to like put out on like social media. That's, I have an issue when people do that. Like their way is the only way. Like it's your way or the highway. It's this like situation, like your man has to do this and this and this or he doesn't love you. How do you know if my man loves me or not?
exactly.
Like there's plenty of different ways that he can show it, that I show it, and it doesn't have to be the same way as yours. So like for somebody to go out and say like, well, it's only this way, and if not, then like I don't think that's right.
But I feel like that's the way that like a lot of people look at like love and relationships. Like it can only be one way, and that's the right way. And I think like I've been trying to have like a more of an open mind when it comes to like love or other people's relationships, because at the end of the day, like you never understand fully everybody's like dynamic. And so you might see from the outside like, oh, she's doing that or he's doing that and I don't agree with that, but like you don't know how the insides of their relationship work, and it might work for them like because of X, Y, and Z reason. Or you know what I mean? Or a lot of people will be like, oh, well, you can tell who wears the pants in the house and it's not him. Like, but like, why is it a negative thing for a woman to have like power over her home? Like, why is that a negative thing? So I don't know. Like, I feel, especially like with our conversation yesterday, just about like open relationships, I think like I've just opened like my mind to like the possibilities of like what love or relationships can look like for different people. And like it might not necessarily work for me, but I understand that people like love in different ways or they receive love in different ways. So if you're somebody who, you know, really loves words of affirmation or physical touch, like having more than one partner like might work for you.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense, just because like how we all have different love languages, everybody has their own way to go about their relationship and their life. Like not everybody is going to be the same whatsoever.
Yeah, so I don't know, I feel like it's just been like a crazy time, like because I've definitely, I don't think ever had like this much of an open mind to things, but like me being single and just encountering different types of people, like dating and, you know, and seeing other people's like relationship dynamics or whatever, it's definitely like opened my mind up to possibilities. Not to say that like I'm gonna be over here like, you know, with with two boyfriends or anything like that, but I definitely have like more of an open mind. So it's been interesting. But there was also another situation that I saw, and I just thought it was interesting because it's kind of like quarantine related. So it says, my girlfriend of 6 months has been out of work for the past 2 weeks, and she's just got word that she will be laid off permanently. She asked me, could she move in with me? I told her that I'm not ready to share my home with anyone. She offered to pay half the bills. I declined. She then proceeded to ask, could I pay her rent for the next month? I told her that I'm uncomfortable doing things that a husband should do for a girlfriend, but I told her that she can borrow $300. She says that I'm wrong for not helping her out during this time of need, and isn't like her perspective. She says that she isn't sure if she will continue dating me. Am I wrong here, or is this another case of women feeling entitled?
Okay, I like you probably brought this up because so I mean, as you know, I stay with my boyfriend the majority of the time, and right now since we're in quarantine, like I haven't left, and
Yeah.
we haven't been together a crazy amount of time at all. But it just kind of happened. Like in no way was there like any of us asking like move in with me, or like can I move in with you. It was just like on the weekends I would stay, and then turn into like, oh, are you staying tonight? Sure. And then like, oh, are you staying today? Okay. And then it just kind of like progressed into that, you know what I mean? But it was never like I need this, can I, you need to, like none of that. It was just like it flowed, and you know what I mean? So it was never like a issue. And then yesterday, another similar situation to like what you just said. Like I was super stressed because all of my, like I had to change like the oil in my car and like do like all these things, and something like so simple like a $50 um fix turned into like $140 fix, and that was like the rest of my paycheck. So I'm like, fuck, like I literally have no money left until we like get like unemployment or like stimulus checks. So I was like kind of freaking out over that. And it was, I never like once like asked him like, can you like help me out? I was like, I know like I'm gonna be good. I can ask my parents. And he's like, I can give you money, like you don't need to stress about that, you're gonna be fine. Like if you're worried about like groceries, like I got it. Like if you're worried about like spending money, like I can give you money to just have, so that you're not like worried. And I was like, it's not even about that. Like want I don't want you to give me money. I don't need to take your money. Like, I'm going to be fine. I don't need to spend right now. But it was just kind of like, literally goes hand in hand with the situation you just said, like asking to move in with somebody versus it just going into that naturally and kind of like flowing. And same with like being out of money, asking for it as opposed to like being offered it, and then having the choice of like, yes, like please help me, or no, I'll be fine, like I'll figure it out, but thank you for being there with me and like trying to help me through it and like working with me. So I think there's like two very different dynamics happening, like the natural flow and just like support versus give, I can't halt. And then that also kind of like to me is like, okay, is he invested because he's thinking of his relationship like either we're just boyfriend and girlfriend or we're a married couple. Like there's no kind of in between, like I can be your boyfriend and still help you with those things and progress, and just love you like regardless of if we're married or just boyfriend and girlfriend, as opposed to it's one or the other, it's and that's it.
Yeah. So for me, like I thought about it in like a lot of ways because like we are in quarantine, you know? So like this was supposed to be like a situation like of somebody who was like out of work because of quarantine. And so like they were saying like, is this something that I should be doing as a boyfriend, or are they expecting too much of me type of thing? So I just thought it was interesting because I was like, we talk so much about boundaries on a regular basis, right? Like we're like, oh, like I set boundaries in my friendships, in my career, in my love life. I set all these boundaries so that I don't get hurt, right? And so this is an example of somebody setting a boundary for themselves, like, oh, you know, I think that this is a lot, like we're just boyfriend and girlfriend, and you're expecting me to like let you live here or give you money or whatever. And if I can't or I'm not willing to, then I'm no longer like worthy of being with you.
Like the provider.
Yeah, so like if I'm not providing for you, then I'm no longer worthy of being with you. So like I just thought it was interesting because like you said, like there's like one example of like I'm willing, I'm able, and I want to give to you, so I'm gonna do that. And then there's the other thing of like it's expected that you give to me because you're my boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't think you should ever expect anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's we have some people have such high expectations for people that either they fulfill them or they're nothing at all. And like that's real, like you said, it's a lot of pressure for somebody to deal with. And I just feel like I've learned to not have expectations of people, and I don't. So whatever like you can provide to my life and like lift up my life it's going to be perfect because I know that whatever you can't, like, I need to be able to provide that for myself, or find a means to do it and just be complete and happy so that I don't have to rely on you to like feed my ego, feed me like emotional support 100% if I can't do that for myself. Like, you have to be able to, you know what I mean? Like, there's a balance also. But I don't think that you need to, unless you are like married and that's like, you know, you live together already as it is and you have certain expectations of your husband. But I don't know, I feel like that's like a lot to ask of somebody, and then to be mad at them for not being able to follow through. Like, if you ask some, like you said, setting boundaries, if you ask somebody to move in and they say like they're not comfortable with that, you have to respect that. But it doesn't mean that they're not worthy of your love or not worthy of spending time with you or being with you. It's just they're not in the same place as you, and eventually hopefully you can catch up and get to that same place, so when you're both ready you can like move in together and do all that. But until then you can't like hold somebody like against, like, you can't just forget about them because you think that they're not worthy of it if they're not
Right.
ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the way like that this woman or whatever like interprets love is like somebody being able to like yeah, like I guess provide for her or like do whatever she needs whenever they yeah, like whenever she needs it. And like I don't think that that's fair. And like so that goes back to like my understanding of like a traditional household. Like so if your man's not able to provide for you, does that mean he no longer loves you?
But that's the thing with a lot of relationships, a lot of failed marriages are over money. Like, if the man isn't able to like provide food or loses his job and like you lose your house, that usually always leads to lots of like marital issues. And it's sad, but a lot of divorces are because of money, because like the man can't provide. So I think if from like off the bat you kind of both provide for yourself and then come together and form something together, then not one or the other can be mad at you for not pulling your end of the bargain or something, because from the start you were both equals in the relationship, not just one carried the whole load than the other.
Right. Or you look at it as like a a team rather than like one person needs to do more than the other.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, you each have your own and you come together and you work it out together, not just one or the other.
Yeah. So I think like that's where my issue with like that whole thing comes into play. And I think that that was just like another example of like you putting pressure on one person and then that like even like he feels pressure to like provide for his girlfriend or he's going to lose her. You know what I mean? I just don't feel like that's a fair,
A lot of pressure on both sides.
yeah, I just don't feel like that's a fair situation whatsoever.
No, I don't think so either. And like I said, I feel like I have a good personal connection with that little anecdote, and I think it has to come naturally always. It's not, unless it's like really needed and you need a place and you have to ask like, can I please stay with you? And if they say yes, perfect. It works out for you and they're comfortable with it. But if they say no, I feel like she's in no place to get mad at him for saying no. He's just not ready.
Yeah. Okay, but then okay, so let me like put myself in her shoes. Like at the same time, I do feel like if I went to my boyfriend and I asked like, "Hey, I don't have anywhere to stay. Like, can I stay with you?" And they said no,
You'd also be like, well, like, you don't want to spend time with me.
I would feel away.
Yeah, I would feel a certain way, but at the end of the day, you can't get mad at somebody because you're not just asking them like, oh, can I hang out at your house with you during the day? Like, you're asking somebody to live with them and like completely be in their space at all times, which they're probably not used to.
Right.
And we don't know how the dynamic of their relationship was before she asked for that.
Okay, so yeah, I agree, but like my heart would hurt, but my head would understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like emotionally, yeah, I'd be like, emotionally, I'd be like, what the heck? Like, I thought we were in love. I thought we were this, this, and that. But then in my head, I would be like, okay, no. Like, for me, it always has to feel right. And if it doesn't feel right, like, basically, like, you were moving in for convenience type of thing. Like, I don't think, like, that makes sense. Like, because you lost your job, now you want to move in with me, not like, oh, like, we've been vibing, like, da-da-da-da, like, let's move in type of thing, you know? Like, I feel like you said, like, it needs to flow or, like, feel right. And in that situation, I don't feel like it was that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't, just like the situation that she says, we don't know how their relationship was before or after, like, if he's really in love with her. Like, because clearly, I mean, that plays a big factor. Like, if you're not in love with someone, then you don't want them to be living with you, let alone, like, maybe, and that's why maybe he's just not at that place yet. He doesn't feel the same way about her as she does, so he's like, not yet.
But then I think also comes the conversation, like, is he dating to marry or is he dating to just date?
Yeah.
Like, what it sounds like is he's dating to just date. Like, for him to say, like, I don't want to do things that a husband would do.
He's not ready to wife anybody yet. That's your issue, girl. He's not trying to marry you.
Conversation to have, like, are you looking to be married or what?
We should DM him. Sir, are you dating her to get married or to have fun?
Well, I have some follow-up questions for him on this situation.
We'll get back to you in episode 5, guys, after we find this man and DM him.
I was supposed to download that dating app that you told me about, but I couldn't find it.
You couldn't?
No, it's called Quarantine. I literally was like, oh wait, I have homework, and then I tried to download it, and the only thing I could find was this
Quarantine Together.
Oh, Quarantine Together. I literally typed in quarantine dating and nothing came up.
On where? On Google?
Oh, it's on Google?
I Googled it, quarantine dating, and Quarantine Together, the app came up.
Okay, because, like, when I go in the App Store, like, nothing comes up.
Really?
Yeah, I was, like, so excited, too. I'm like, this is a good idea.
I see it right here. Is there a way? I want to, like, put my screen. Quarantine Together.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's not coming up.
Yeah.
It literally says Quarantine Together is a dating app for these times in quarantine. Quarantine love story goes by. Yeah. Quarantine Together.
So weird. I'm gonna have to do some research on that one because I didn't see it when I had looked it up yesterday.
Yeah, we need to do a little digging. Sorry for the false information.
So that I can give my feedback to the people.
Google lied.
Download Quarantine Together or not.
No, yeah, I mean, it says it's a thing. We just need to do a little digging deeper. So have you played any April Fool's pranks on anybody?
No, why are you planning to do them?
No, my brother tried to get one on me.
What did he do?
He said, Isa, I need your help, ... And I was like, fuck, his girlfriend is pregnant. And sure enough, he texts me, Kat is pregnant, ... And I was like, do you want to call me? He's like, yeah. So he called, and I was like, and I answered, and I was like, it's April Fool's. I knew that you were going to say that she was pregnant. She's not pregnant. He's like, April Fool! And I was like, I was already thinking, all right, her name is going to be, and he goes, her name is going to be Thunder, Lightning Bolt. And then, like, we just started going on. He's like, yep, that's her name.
I feel like I can't even focus on, like, all the holidays because it was, like, just Cesar Chavez Day.
I don't really know all of, like, those ones. I only know President's Day.
Yeah, but Cesar Chavez was, like, yesterday. Tuesday? Yeah.
I don't know.
Wasn't it? Or it was one holiday. Look, the people are going to come for us for not knowing.
I have no idea. I've never been good with them. Like, I don't know when Labor Day is, when Veterans Day is.
But yeah, I mean, like, right now it doesn't matter because we're still...
Like, yeah, we're not working anyways.
Still doing the same thing that we were doing yesterday.
I was gonna ask you something. I forgot what I was gonna ask you, but it's okay.
Well, that wraps up our conversation on love languages. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Make sure you leave a comment below and let us know what you want us to talk about on the next episode. Comment, subscribe, like, turn on your post notifications, and tune into the next episode of Quarantine and Chat.
Yes, and you can always message us on Instagram at Renee Wallace and Issa B. Mullins. DM us with any suggestions that you have for topics, anything you want to see, any challenges, anything at all. We would love to hear your feedback, comments, concerns, and we will see you tomorrow.
Yes, thanks for
Bye,
tuning in.
guys.